Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You like that? Was that good?
It's good.
That was awesome.
It's
Well,
good.
good to see you guys here. Hope you guys having a great
good.
day. We're so excited to be with you. Pastor, how you feeling?
I'm good.
You good?
How
You ready?
doing? I'm ready. I'm
He's about
ready.
to bring the word. I'm doing good,
I'm
man.
ready.
Doing good. Well, we're going to be in Titus chapter 2, verses 1 to 15. And so, Pastor, tell us, give us some wisdom. What you get out of God's word?
We say this, I think every text that we look at, we're like, this is an incredible passage. But again, this fits that bill, right? Titus is hearing from Paul, and Paul's referencing Titus as his true child in a common faith at the beginning of chapter 1. And so what Paul's sharing, obviously, with Titus are things that are dear to his heart and that he feels are necessary for his dear son in the faith. And so in chapter 2, though, there's something basically for everybody. Paul's going to lay out in Titus chapter 2 instruction for older men, instruction for younger men, instruction for older women, instruction for younger women. So it really encompasses everybody. Anybody that's listening, whether you consider yourself to be young or old, whichever that is, you determine. There is instruction here in Titus chapter 2. And so it's really important to read that whole chapter. I encourage you to do that. But today, what I want to focus in on is really focusing in on verses 7 and 8. Because Paul's calling on Titus here. He says this: show yourself in all respects to be a model of good works, and in your teaching show integrity, dignity, and sound speech that cannot be condemned, so that an opponent may be put to shame, having nothing evil to say about us. I think it's a fantastic passage because he calls on Titus, his son in the faith, to show himself to be in all respects a model of good works. In teaching, show integrity and dignity, show sound speech that cannot be condemned, so that an opponent would be put to shame. If they ever tried to say anything evil against him, they would be put to shame because of how their conduct, his integrity, his speech is honoring to the Lord. And so, you know, that should cause us, I know it caused me to pause and think, man, like, does my speech, does my conduct, do my words, does my attitude that I have day in and day out really reflect what would be considered to be that of integrity, dignity, good works, and sound speech that cannot be put to shame? And I think that's important for all of us to consider, you know, not only in our words, but in our actions, in our motivations, in what we do. And so really a challenge there to show ourselves as models of this to people. You know, I don't know when the last time we really processed or thought through what kind of example we're setting for other people to follow. But here, as a believer, we're called on being proactive as examples on these things. And so I think it's really a challenge, you know, to take inventory and to consider, are we living lives for Christ in such a way that they're honoring God, they're of integrity and of soundness, that if someone wants to say something negative or wants to accuse us of something, they'd be put to shame because we are following God, following Christ in a manner that's honoring and glorifying to Him.
Yeah. And I think also that goes with even like social media posts that we put on.
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking about that. Like, this would be a great, you know, test. Like, you know, there's a lot of times I see posts and I want to like comment like, oh, this is going to be good.
Sure,
This is going to
sure.
be great.
Oh, yeah,
And then I'm
yeah.
like, no, like I just erase it because I know it's not going to
for
be helpful. But I think it's so true is that, man, like the way we carry ourselves, the example that we have should make it to where if there are rumors start about us, people can just squash it.
Sure.
You know, like,
sure.
which I've experienced that being in ministry, you know, where there's some rumors about me and people that know me that have, you know, invested in, they're like, hey, no, that's not who Steve is.
For sure.
This is who he is. And that goes because of, again, not that I'm perfect or anything, you know, but to know like every decision I make reflects God.
Yes.
You know, like I want to make God great in all
Absolutely.
my decisions. And that's even with that Facebook post, like, all right, is this making God great?
Sure.
Or is this going to cause something else? But that's a good challenge and a good reminder for all of the believers.
Yes.
You know, as we live our lives.
Well, and he says in verse 7, and we kind of jumped through it real quick, but he says, show yourself in all respects to be a model of good works, right? In all respects that you're going to be the model. And so a lot of times we can be guilty of compartmentalizing where we are a Christian and where we're not. We can be guilty of compartmentalizing where we are going to be, quote unquote, good in our works, and where we're kind of going to hold some things back for ourselves. But he says, in all respects, we're to be an example, a model of good works, not just that we're doing good, but that what we're doing should be a model for others to follow. And obviously, the example of this would be Christ, right? And Jesus, in all areas, was without sin, perfect in all that he did, absolutely right in all that he did. And yet people still would want to slander him. They would still speak evil of him. They would accuse him of things that he did not do or things that he did not say. And Jesus really never felt the need to have to defend himself, because his works, his words, his actions, they defended him on their own, right? And he was proven to be truthful. He was proven to be the Son of God by his resurrection. And so he himself received these kind of accusations, but it was crystal clear in the way that he lived and the way that he spoke and who he is that these things were false. And so the same should be true for us, that we are living in such a way in all aspects that we're glorifying God. And then there's great joy and peace that comes with just trusting God then with that, because we're doing what God has called us to do. And that brings joy.
Yeah, and I think it's a mindset too. Like, I love what you said, like, you know, we act one way when we come to church, but then we think, all right, this is my life. I can do whatever I want. Where in the sense is, no, it's all goes together. But we got to reflect Christ wherever we go. Even when we make our mistakes, do we still reflect Christ in our mistakes? But no, that's good truth. I hope you guys were encouraged by that. Just remember that our purpose is to reflect Christ in all that we do and say. And so we pray that you will live that out. But hey, listen, let us know how God's been challenging you. Let us know what you've been God's been teaching you, and even like maybe you share this with someone else, and just share with us. Let us know if you have any questions. Please email us as well. But we hope this is encouraging, challenging to you, and we pray that you guys have a great week.